Hi guys, I hope you're all really well. Today's video is gonna be, I haven't thought of what the title's gonna be yet, but it's just gonna be a little bit of a chatty update on Oman and my charity challenge. So I'm just gonna take people back in case they haven't seen any previous videos or you're a new follower. My name's Lucy and I'm a parenting blogger and a vlogger for Channel Mum, and I am taking on a charity challenge in November in aid of breast cancer awareness charity CoppaFeel. CoppaFeel are all about breast cancer prevention and detection. They're out there encouraging women and men to be checking their boobs and find anything that could be potentially sinister before it turns into a breast cancer. So yeah, that's what CoppaFeel's about, and I am going to Oman, which is near Dubai, in November the 4th to be exact. I'm going with celebrity leaders Giovanna, Fletcher and Rutherford, which I am absolutely and utterly buzzing about. G is one of my friends already and I am like just so excited to be spending this time with her. We're also going with, I don't actually know how many other people it is anymore because it's increased, but I think it's like 60 other people or something. So like 60 trekkers including myself, going off to Oman and trekking for 7 days across mountain, desert, beach, that sort of terrain. We're doing some climbing, we're going up a mountain on the very last day, and yeah, it's going to be very, very hard. I'm absolutely terrified. I don't like camping, I don't really like bugs, I don't really like exercise that much, so yeah, to say that this is a challenge is an absolute understatement. So if you have been following me for a while, you might have seen that I have absolutely smashed my target, and it makes me want to well up saying it. I feel absolutely so proud of everybody that's donated to me. I am now up to £4,800, which is incredible. My target was 2,775, so yeah, I'm at 4,800 and I've just raised my target to 5,000 and I'm hoping to smash that by November. I've got quite an exciting video that I am editing at the moment. It's taking a while because I want to get it right, but it's basically stories from some of the other trekkers, so telling you why they are doing the challenge and how cancer or breast cancer may have affected them or their families. And I've also got a few familiar vlogging faces who will be featuring on the video as well, who are telling their own stories. So look out for that. That should be up in the next couple of weeks. It's really, really hard to get the edit right because I don't want to miss out anything important, but I don't want to make it like too long either. So yes, that should be up in the next couple of weeks, so look out for that one. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about why I'm doing this challenge, because I haven't really sat down and properly spoke about this, and I haven't actually asked Scott if I can speak about it, but I'm sure that he won't mind. It's something that I've shared on social media a lot, but I've never actually properly sat down and spoke about it in depth in a video. So in August 2015, so 2 years ago this month, my partner Scott, who is now my fiance Scott, had a seizure, and it was a really, really bad one, and I wasn't with him. He was with a friend at lunch in Wagamama's actually, in Reading, and he had a huge seizure that lasted like quite a long time, and he was unconscious and taken to hospital. Somebody got hold of me and I managed to get myself to Royal Berkshire Hospital quite quickly. Weirdly, my sister was really, really close to the hospital, so she actually got there first, which is just so strange that she was there, and she managed to sort of help him through what was quite a difficult stage when he came out of that seizure. And then I got there, and it was obviously terrifying to see. He was very, very disorientated. He thought he was in Ibiza. He thought it was like 1990 something. Yeah, it was very distressing, and to be honest, it's all a bit of a blur. I don't really remember it that well, but they basically put that seizure down to absolutely nothing. They thought it was just one of those things that happens, and yeah, he came home. He was recovering at home because sometimes when you have a very prolonged seizure, you can pull your chest muscles and your back muscles, and Scott had done that pretty badly, so he was really quite struggling. So he was, you know, just managing at home with pain relief, and we thought everything was fine. And then he had a seizure next to me in the middle of the night, and probably most 100% it's the scariest thing that's ever happened ever to me. I'm sure it was scary for him too, but he doesn't really remember it. For me, it was absolutely terrifying. I don't think I'd ever really properly seen somebody have a fit. It was about midnight and he started fitting, which made his whole body leap out of bed, and he smashed his head open, actually his nose open, on the bedside table, and so there was blood everywhere and he was fitting and I had to deal with it. I didn't really know what you were meant to do with somebody that has a seizure other than move everything away from them, which is what I did. I think I put him in the recovery position when he stopped fitting, but I called an ambulance in the meantime, and we're really lucky where we are. The ambulance actually sits down in the business park, which is like 2 minutes from my house, so it got to my house within 2 minutes and they were absolutely amazing. They took us to hospital. Actually, another ambulance came because they wanted to obviously make sure that they'd got Scott really secure, and I couldn't drive. I was like shaking like a leaf, and I had Harry with me, so they took me and Harry in one ambulance, which Harry thought was great, and obviously Scott in another. So we got to hospital, and I'm going to cut a really long story short, but they did a ton of MRI tests and a CT scan, and they told us that he could go home, but we would be seeing a neurologist like ASAP. I was really lucky and he has private healthcare, so this was all on private health after this, which was amazing. So I'm not really sure how the time period works here, but I think it was like a few days later we were called in to see a neurologist about 9 o'clock in the morning, and she told us that Scott had a brain tumour, and that this brain tumour was pretty big and it was growing at an alarming rate, and that the only way that she saw him surviving it was to have surgery. This is like 9 o'clock in the morning on a weekday, and we were just not expecting it. I must admit, I just don't, it was just completely and utterly a massive shock, and I don't really know what we did. Scott's sister works at the hospital, so we just walked over and I think we just stood outside and cried. We went home and told our families and our friends, and just obviously there was just a lot of tears and there was a lot to process. They didn't have a clue what type of tumour it was. Obviously there was no time for testing. A lot of the time they will do like a biopsy before surgery, but they decided that this needed to come out like right now. Scott's tumour was on his left frontal lobe, so it's like this area here, and they said it was about this big. I think it was 5 days later, so very, very quick. We were in Southampton at the Spire Clinic, which is a private hospital there, and Scott had his surgery, which was obviously a very, very difficult day. I think probably more for him than it was for everybody else. Obviously we were just trying to be really positive, but I can't really imagine for him what it was like to wait to go down to have brain surgery. It's just one of those things that you don't really like to think about. Obviously no one wants to have any sort of surgery at all really, or be in hospital or be hurt for any reason, but I think brain surgery is really scary because obviously your brain is like your life hub. Like anything that's to do with the brain, you know, it can be very, very dangerous, and I think he was scared and I was very scared that we didn't know who would come out of the operating theatre. So after surgery, it was really long. I couldn't tell how long, but it felt like a really long time, and it took him quite a while to come out of resuscitation. And then he was brought up to us, so me, his sister and his brother, and it was really weird. I didn't expect him to be as good as he was at that stage. I thought that he would be like completely out of it and wouldn't even be able to like do anything, but he had this absolutely huge bandage around his head, and he just looked straight at me and he attempted to smile, so it was sort of like a, you know, tried to smile, but he was exhausted, and he gave me a thumbs up, which was lovely. Like I just had this, I don't want to get upset, I don't know why I'm getting upset, but I just had this really strange feeling that he was going to come out and look at me and not know who I was, or just be a different person, and obviously that would be the worst possible outcome. Obviously other than him not making it through, but I just didn't want him to come out and not be the Scott that obviously we all know and love. But he did, and yeah, he came home, and it's so weird, I haven't got upset about it in like a really, really long time. Yeah, he came home, and I think him being at home was probably the hardest bit of the whole thing actually, because he obviously had been through major brain surgery, and I had to go about normal life. I had to go to work when I could. I was working from home quite a lot, and and I had to look after Harry, and I obviously had to look after Scott, and there was a lot of information I had to know. I had to look out for signs of infections and any more seizures coming on and things like that. I had a bit of trouble. I had a bit of a time where I really struggled to sleep because I was worried that he was going to have a seizure in the night or he was going to be unwell in the night. So after that, recovery was really good. Scott's operation meant that he had to have his head cut from literally like here all the way across to here. It's like a little headband. But after he'd recovered from his surgery, he then had to start having radiotherapy treatment. So before radiotherapy, sorry, they told us that the tumour was a grade 4 tumour, which is obviously a really bad grade, but they said it was on the good side of a grade 4, if that makes sense. So it was on the very, very low risk side of a grade 4, but still a high risk, if that makes sense. I can't give you the technical name for it because I don't know it. It's a very long name. But yeah, it's a brain tumour and it was brain cancer, and so they had blasted it with radiotherapy and they decided that was the best course of treatment. They'd managed to remove the whole thing during the surgery, so the radiotherapy was just to kill any cells around the area. So radiotherapy started, God, I can't even tell you when it started now. The dates are all so muddled up, but it went on for 7 weeks, and that included going on Christmas Eve. He got the day off on Christmas Day, luckily, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, which sucked. My birthday's Christmas Eve, so we spent like the morning having radiotherapy, but I would rather spend the morning having radiotherapy with my beautiful fiance by my side than him not living and me spending my birthday without him. So yeah, it sucked, but it is what it is, and it saved his life. And he finished his radiotherapy in January 2016, so last January. Yeah, he got through it really, really well, actually. The symptoms that a lot of people said he didn't really seem to get, he didn't get a lot of sickness. He felt quite tired when it came to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day, but who doesn't feel tired at that time anyway when you're a parent? The main symptom for Scott was that he did lose all of the hair in front of the scar, so everything from sort of here forward, which for him was not nice, as you can imagine. Everybody says that it's worse for a woman to lose their hair, but actually I think it's just as bad for men, and he's always been really proud of that head of hair, and when he lost it, I think he lost a lot of confidence, and yeah, he lost his Scottness, if you like, and he just felt really self-conscious. But I actually thought he looked smoking hot with a shaved head, and I know a lot of my friends think so too because they've told me. So he went back to work a few weeks later, which I think is incredible, and I'm really proud of him for doing so. He went back to work and just sort of got on with normal life, and yeah, it was, he just recovered really, really well. He had MRI scans. Basically, every MRI scan he's had since his operation has been completely clear. They are absolutely just so happy with him. He's obviously still in remission. I think he will be for 10 years. He has been signed off to have MRI scans every 6 months as opposed to every 3 months. So obviously that is like an amazing achievement. Scott's scar, like I said, it was a cut from here to here. But it's so neat, like you would literally not even see it, and he's so lucky. All of his hair's grown back, and it's like the exact same as his hair was before he lost it. There's been no massive adjustments to his life other than the fact that he can't drive, and he can apply from November this year, which we are so excited about, and hopefully they will sign him off and get him driving again. Other than that, he takes medication every single day for seizures, so that's just to prevent any seizures that might want to happen. He doesn't have any major effects from it at all. I mean, we do laugh and joke about it because Scott's got a really bad memory, but I think he's had a really bad memory since I've known him, so I don't really know if that has been affected at all, but maybe some of his long-term memory is a little bit rough, but as far as sort of like his normal memory and things he should be normally remembering, it's absolutely fine, and he's had no like personality changes from it or anything like that, so obviously that's amazing. I really wasn't planning on this video being so long at all. I was kind of just gonna talk to you a little bit about what happened when Scott had his brain tumour and what it was like for us, and the main reason I really wanted to talk to you about it was because obviously I'm doing this Oman charity challenge in November for CoppaFeel. When the challenge came up, I saw it and I thought, that would be something that would be a really good thing to maybe stop someone going through a similar situation to what we went through, because obviously brain cancer is very hard to detect or even prevent. You don't really know you've got it until something bad happens, but something like breast cancer, you could discover that lump way before it turns into cancerous or way before it becomes life-threatening. So I thought doing this for CoppaFeel might stop somebody from having to go through all the treatment and the surgery and everything that we sort of went through. And yeah, I just wanted to do something that would make a real difference. So I'm so sorry if this video has been completely rambly and maybe a bit emotional. I don't want to set off any triggers for anybody. I know that I have recently had a bit of a trigger with one of my online friends. Her husband sadly passed away from a brain tumour and brain cancer, and it's really, really sad, and it hit in here a bit, and it made me feel obviously very sad for them, and also very grateful that we are where we are, and at the moment Scott is really, really healthy, and obviously we are able to carry on our lives as normal as everybody else, really. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you would like to donate to my charity trek, I will pop a link to it below. If you wanted to ask me any questions about brain tumours or brain surgery or anything like that, then I am more than happy to answer them and talk to you about it. Yeah, just leave me a comment or drop me an email or find me on Instagram or something like that. And I am going to stop talking now, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all your support as always. Thank you. Bye.